Afternoon. I appreciate it. We've had a challenging weekend since I was here before you on Friday afternoon. Obviously, we lost Simpson County Deputy Sheriff James Blair. I want to personally say to his family how much we are praying for you, how much we love you. We're so sorry that this occurred. Many of the folks that I work with on a daily basis knew the deputy sheriff. I, of course, know the sheriff of Simpson County very well, and we are praying for you, and I want the people of our state to know that. Before Dr. Dobbs and Director Michelle give their updates today, I want to first let everyone know that I do have a White House call at 3 o'clock. And so while I may be a little bit late to that call, I can't be real late. And so at some point, I'm going to have to cut questions off today, which is unusual. But we will work our way through it. But before I get to Dr. Dobbs and Director Michelle to give their regular updates, I wanted to make sure that we underline a serious issue going on across the country. It is happening in virtually every state. It is certainly happening here, and we are tracking it very closely. Unemployment systems across the country are being attacked with false claims. Mississippi's certainly has been. These are often sophisticated networks of criminal hackers who will take your information, apply for unemployment, and then reap your benefits. It can have serious consequences for you, and obviously it can have serious consequences for the system. Please guard your personal information closely. We are doing everything in our power on our end to prevent any fraudulent claims, but in the effort to get assistance to people quickly, we know that some have gotten through. I'm happy today to have U.S. Attorney Mike Hurst with us to provide a message to any scammers who want to test his resolve in prosecuting these crimes. But first, I'd like to ask Director Jackie Turner to provide an update on what MDES is doing as well on these fraud issues.
Thank you, Governor Reeves. It's been a few weeks since I was with you, and of course, we have paid out over $1 billion in unemployment funds from not only the combination of the Mississippi's Trust Fund along with the CARES Act dollars that have been coming to us from the Treasury and the U.S. Department of Labor and the congressional action that they took for us all in the pandemic crisis. But unfortunately, with that does come a bit of fraudulent activity, and we at MDS, along with the enforcement agencies, Mr. Hurst and a host of others, have been talking weekly and if not daily on the efforts that we have going to combat fraud. First of all, let me say the most important thing is if you think you are a victim of fraud, report it immediately. The way to report it to MDS is to email us at safe@mds.ms.gov. When you report that, we will put a stop on the payments that are going to that fraudulent claim. In addition to that, we will ask the people to provide information to us, an affidavit and some identifying information so that you can protect yourself from identity theft and those kinds of things. You'll have to contact your local law enforcement agency, and that information goes to us as well, so we can put those stops on the unemployment insurance claims and then prevent future payments from being made. So we have had many attempts in the last couple of weeks. We have coordinated specifically with the enforcement agencies. We have many internal processes as well, cross matches and those things to combat fraud. But even so, as Governor Reeves said, with the rush to pay people quickly, some of those fraudsters have gotten through, I suppose. Along with that, I want to say that employers can be a great resource to us as well. We've been working with the Governor Reeves staff on the Restart Mississippi initiative and recognizing that there needs to be a more robust way to report information to us at Employment Security, not only for people receiving unemployment insurance through a fraudulent means, but also to let us know when they have hired employees back or brought employees back to work. It's time to get Mississippi restarted, and along that way, some people may be they may think that it's better to file that unemployment and get that extra $600 for a few weeks, but I would categorize that in the category of fraud. If you're receiving unemployment insurance and you have a job to return to, or if you have a job that is waiting for you, then the intent is for unemployment insurance to no longer be needed. So employers play an important role in that so that they can let us know when they are calling their employers back. We have a greater robust system to do that, which will come online Monday, if not before, called Restart Mississippi Initiative, and we will be working with employers, and they will be able to tell us when people are brought back on to work, among other things, including fraudulent activity that may be going on. So there are a host of activities that are going on. We recognize that fraud is being, specifically in the last few weeks, we have heard numerous complaints and reports of fraud. We're on top of it. We have many ways to combat it on the front end so that it never gets started. But if those few that get through on the back end, please report it timely, safe at mds.ms.gov, and employers, when you recognize it, please report it as well. And through all of that, we will get through it together.
Thank you, Jackie, for your hard work on this and other things in this unprecedented times. I also want to underscore the importance of the Mississippi Legislature refilling the Unemployment Trust Fund. I have serious concerns that small businesses are going to be hit with an automatic tax increase if they do not do this. It has to be a priority. Otherwise, it is going to be workers and small business owners across the state who see their fees and their taxes go up exponentially. This is exactly what the CARES Act was designed to pay for. It is critical that it gets funded at the appropriate level, or we are going to see a lot of people hit with increased taxes in 2021 at an absolute terrible, terrible time. Now, turning back to the fraud that was mentioned earlier, this is a priority for us. We are going to find the people responsible, and we are going to prosecute them. I have known U.S. Attorney Mike Hurst for a long time, and he is at the tip of the spear here. I've asked him to be here today to share a word of warning on this issue. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Governor. Governor, we're here today to talk about unemployment fraud. As Jackie mentioned, MDES has been on the forefront of this, and Jackie, I want to thank you and your staff for that. About a month ago, the United States Secret Service put out a bulletin advising individuals that an international fraud ring had begun targeting 7 states across the country. And we've seen examples in newspaper reports of Washington State being hit pretty hard. Some of our southern states like North Carolina and Florida, and unfortunately Mississippi's not immune to this fraud going around. Recently, the Department of Labor's Inspector General noted that up to $26 billion could be wasted in unemployment fraud. $26 billion. And as Jackie said, to her credit and to her staff's credit, they quickly reached out to the United States Secret Service, to the Department of Labor Office of Inspector General, and we've brought in other partners, including our State Attorney General's office, our State Auditor's office, Social Security, Office of Inspector General, and others to investigate this. Now, as the Governor mentioned, we will, in the United States Attorney's Office, prosecute this to the fullest extent of the law. And we actually have expertise in this. If some of you may remember, after Hurricane Katrina, the federal government sent a lot of money back home to Mississippi, to Louisiana, and Alabama, and unfortunately, we had a lot of fraud associated with that money coming back to the state. So we are well equipped in this office to prosecute this, and we have incredible partners, as I mentioned, with the United States Secret Service and the Department of Labor. So let me just leave you with this. If you're a victim, as Jackie mentioned, please, please, please reach out to your local law enforcement, reach out to the Mississippi Department of Employment Security. We need to hear from you. We need to talk to you. We need to interview you. And if you're a bank or financial institution, please do the same, because what we are seeing in this fraud is the money's going to banks out of state. The monies are coming into banks in Mississippi that might be defrauding other state departments of employment security. So this has to be a team effort, and I'm proud of Jackie, and I'm proud of the Secret Service led by Sean Wolf here in the state of Mississippi, proud of the Department of Labor being investigated by Chase Bozeman. And I think we've got an incredible team, as Jackie said, meeting weekly or almost daily to root out this fraud. So please contact us. If you can't get in touch with anyone else, of course, call us in the U.S. Attorney's Office.